We've never had a pandemic before, so it's a very unusual case, to do, but the charges are familiar. So he's been charged with violation of Penal Code Section 530.5, which is identity theft. And we mostly commonly associate identity theft with you or I being a victim of it, an individual. But identity theft extends to the government and corporations. So in this case, it's the misappropriation or the theft of the identity of CDC, Pfizer, Moderna, all of those. Their identity has been stolen and misappropriated. He's also charged with violation of Penal Code Section 472, which is forgery of a government seal. All of those are felonies, those 4 counts. And then he has a misdemeanor count for violation of Penal Code Penal Code Section 470.1, which is false medical records, producing and production and sale of false medical records. So yeah, it is unique because it's associated with the pandemic. However, the charges are ones that we use quite a bit.
My other question would be, why would someone want to do something like this?
With anything, when there's an opportunity to make money, greed is usually a big motivating factor in these types of cases. So any opportunity to make money, people see it and then they seize upon it and take advantage of it. So there was an opportunity here to create these false documents that were forged government seals, forged representation of major corporations and CDC, and then of course falsifying medical records. And those all created an opportunity for somebody or many people maybe to go into the business of creating these falsified documents in order to profit economically.
Someone who's asked me, for someone to do something like this, does this create a health risk for folks that assume that someone is truly vaccinated when they're showing a fake ID card?
Absolutely. Absolutely. So it enhances that chance. Here in the United States of America, you had the free will to make the decision to get the vaccine or not. And whatever choice you made, you live with that consequence. So if you made the choice to have the vaccine, then you're entitled to have that vaccine representation, including the card and the validation of it. If you specifically chose not to have the vaccine and then you want to manipulate the system in order to present yourself as somebody who's been vaccinated, then that's wrong. You made the choice, live with it, and accept those responsibilities. Whichever way you go, I respect both journeys. If you got vaccinated or you don't, that's your personal decision. But to not get vaccinated and then to create a fraudulent pathway so that you would be representing to the community, to your colleagues at work, to the people that you're traveling with on the airplane, to anybody that you have been vaccinated is dangerous, and it needs to be addressed. So, here in the United States, you had that choice. And when you made that choice, then you got to stand behind it. And whichever way you went, that's your choice. But to not have created the pathway towards a vaccine and then to circle back and say, oh yeah, I did, that's not right. So we needed to address this and did so in a timely fashion. And I want to thank the San Joaquin County Sheriff's Office and ABC. They did a great job on this case and a great investigation.
You detailed some of the charges. In a nutshell, what could he face?
They're felony charges, so he could, get county jail or state prison. Just depends, on a number of factors. But it is, it just depends on a number of factors and what the court sees in this situation. So,
the follow-up would be, in this day and age when so many inmates are being released for serious crimes on good behavior from the state, here you have someone that, it's not they're felony charges, but would someone like this perhaps not even see jail time?
I don't know. The sentencing is up to the judge. A lot of people think the district attorney is in charge of the sentencing, but we're not. It's up to the judge to determine what would be the appropriate sentence for this case. And it'll be down the line. We'll be taking a look at all the totality of all the circumstances and deciding on whether this is a county jail type of case. If so, are there, how and what that looks like. And if it's not a county jail, is it a state prison case? Most cases now, and that's going back since 2012 with AB 109 and other changes in the law, have moved most of the inmates, not all of them, but those that are nonviolent, to the county jail. So, more likely he'd be in the county jail spending time, or they'll find an alternative pathway for him. And it also depends on any, prior conduct and how he does on bail as well. So those are all factors that the court will take into consideration and then make a determination. And they'll look at all of that and then decide.
Finally, one more question. Do you believe that there's more of this going on? It just hasn't been discovered yet?
Sure, absolutely. There's always, with thieves, there's always looking for an opportunity to make a quick buck, an illegal buck, and to manipulate the system to their benefit purely for greed purposes. So this is not only, people need to realize not only was this fraudulent representation of a very serious matter, but it was also, these are incomes that are garnished that are not being taxed. So this is cash under the table. It's non-taxable income. And so all of those consequences too will be looked at as well, because when you're running these kind of criminal enterprises where you're selling identification or selling information or selling false documents like we have here, it's people aren't putting it on their credit card or writing you a check. It's on all cash on hand kind of transaction. And from it, it's no different than your identity being stolen or mine. It's identity theft, and it is fraudulent document. And some people might, think that, like you said, it doesn't deserve as much attention, but it does, because it breaks down the system, which is designed to ensure the safety and health and well-being of everybody. And when you do that, you're going to hear from my office, and you're going to hear quick and swift from us. So, and that's what's happened. And I'm very grateful to the sheriff and the ABC for their hard work. They saw this and they jumped on it and did everything that they could to get a great investigation for us.